In a peaceful village nestled between rolling hills and bright green fields, there lived a young girl named Maya. She was full of dreams and imagination. Whenever she looked at the sky, she imagined she could paint clouds so real that people could feel their softness. Whenever she walked by the river, she imagined painting the water so beautifully that people would hear it flowing through her artwork. But even with all her dreams, Maya had one big problem. She had never held a paintbrush in her life. She didn't know how to mix colors, how to draw shapes, or how to create shadows. Her dream felt huge, and she felt small beside it. One day, news spread around the village that a famous old artist named Master Chun had arrived. People whispered about him excitedly. They said his paintings were so detailed that birds sometimes landed on them, thinking the trees were real. They said he once painted a sunset so beautiful that visitors cried when they saw it. Travelers from distant lands came to the village just to meet him and admire his work. Maya felt her heart beat faster every time she heard his name. She thought, if only I could learn from him. If only he could show me how to start. After days of gathering courage, she finally approached Master Chun. Her hands were shaking, and her voice trembled as she spoke. Master Chun, I want to paint like you. Can you teach me your secret? The old man looked at her with kind eyes and a gentle smile. His face was lined with wisdom, and his calm presence made Maya feel safe. There is no secret, child, he said softly. Only consistency. Maya frowned. That wasn't the answer she expected. Consistency? But I want to be great now. I want to paint beautifully as soon as possible. How long will it take? Master Chun chuckled quietly. Come to my studio every morning, he said. Paint for just 15 minutes each day. That is all I ask. Maya felt confused and disappointed. 15 minutes? That sounded too easy, too small, too slow. But she respected the master, so she nodded and agreed. The next morning, Maya arrived at the studio. The room smelled of old wood and fresh paint. Brushes of all sizes hung neatly on the walls. Master Chun handed her a small brush and a blank canvas. Paint anything, he said. Maya dipped the brush into the paint and began to create lines. Her hands shook. The colors mixed in strange ways. The lines were messy and uneven. When she finished her first 15 minutes, she looked at the canvas and felt a deep embarrassment. This is terrible, she thought. Maybe I'm not meant to be a painter. But the next morning she returned, and the morning after that, and the morning after that. By the end of the first week, her paintings still looked clumsy. But something interesting happened. Holding the brush no longer felt strange. Her hand didn't shake as much. The paint didn't spill everywhere. It was only a small improvement, but it was a beginning. As days turned into weeks, Maya found herself changing. At first, painting felt like a task, something she forced herself to do. But slowly, those 15 minutes became her favorite part of the day. She loved the quiet of the early morning. She loved the sound of the brush touching the canvas. She loved the way colors blended when she moved her hand gently. One morning, she painted a simple flower. When she stepped back to look at it, she gasped softly. For the first time, her painting looked decent. The petals had shape, the colors didn't bleed together, and there was a small sense of life in the image. Master Chun, she called. Look, it's getting better. The old man looked at the flower and smiled. You are discovering the magic, Maya. Small steps, taken every day, create miracles. But then came the rainy season. Dark clouds covered the sky, and heavy storms pounded the village day after day. Rainwater ran down the streets like rivers, and thunder shook the windows. Some mornings Maya woke up shivering, tired, and unmotivated. The thought of walking to the studio through the cold wind felt impossible. Maybe I should skip today, she thought one gray morning. Just this once. 15 minutes won't make a difference. But then she remembered Master Chun's words. Consistency is the magic. With a deep breath, she wrapped herself in a thick cloak and stepped outside. The rain soaked her clothes. The wind pushed against her, but she kept walking. When she arrived at the studio, dripping wet, Master Chun was waiting with a warm cup of tea and his usual gentle smile. "This," he said quietly, "is when the real magic happens. Not when it is easy, but when you show up anyway." Weeks passed, and the rainy season eventually ended. Maya continued painting, morning after morning, just 15 minutes each time. She never let herself paint longer, because Master Chun told her improvement comes from steady practice, not from rushing. After 6 months of daily effort, Maya could paint things she never imagined before. Her hands moved with confidence. Her eyes noticed colors and shadows she had never seen. When she looked at a tree, she didn't just see green. She saw emerald, jade, olive, lime, and sage. When she looked at the sky, she no longer saw one shade of blue, but many soft gradients blending together. Her world had become richer, more detailed, more alive. One day, Master Chun told her the village was organizing an art festival. Artists from nearby towns would come to display their work. "You should show your paintings," he said. Maya's heart started racing. Fear washed over her. "I can't," she whispered. "I'm not ready. I'm not good enough." Master Chun gently shook his head. "Bring your first painting," he said, "and bring your most recent one." Maya hesitated but agreed. On the day of the festival, she hung both paintings side by side. The first one messy, shaky, and uncertain looked like the work of a child. The second one showed a sunset over the village hills. The sky glowed with warm oranges and bright yellows. The trees had depth and shape. The painting felt alive. Villagers gathered around Maya's display. "Look at the difference," one person said. "This transformation is incredible," said another. Maya stared at the two paintings, her eyes filling with emotion. She could hardly believe they were created by the same girl. An elderly woman approached her and asked, "How did you improve so much? What is your secret?" Maya smiled softly. For the first time, she fully understood the wisdom Master Chun had given her. "There is no secret," she said, "only consistency. I painted for 15 minutes every single day. I didn't try to be great all at once. I just kept showing up, even when I felt tired, even when I thought I wasn't improving, even when it rained and I wanted to stay home." Those small steps added up to something big. The woman nodded slowly, amazed by the simplicity of Maya's answer. Word of Maya's transformation spread throughout the village, and soon others began their own 15-minute journeys. A baker practiced decorating cakes for 15 minutes each day, and eventually opened a bakery famous for its beautiful designs. A young boy who loved music practiced flute every morning and became the village's finest musician. An old farmer finally learned to read 15 minutes at a time and discovered a passion for poetry he never knew he had. Master Chun watched with joy as the entire village began to change, not through big actions, but through small, consistent steps. Years passed, and Maya eventually became a master painter herself. Students traveled far to learn from her. They admired her artwork and begged her to share her secret. Maya always gave them the same answer she once received. "There is no secret, only the magic of consistency. Start small, start today, and show up again tomorrow. Those tiny steps will take you farther than you can imagine." Maya learned something powerful, something most people never understand. Greatness is not created in one big leap. It is built through thousands of small steps, taken with patience and dedication. A single drop of water may seem weak, but over time, it can carve through stone. The magic isn't in being perfect. The magic is in being present, showing up for yourself again and again, even when progress feels invisible. Because one day, you will look back and realize that those small, consistent steps carried you farther than you ever dreamed possible.